What he once brushed off as harmless workplace signals were never harmless at all. The casual remarks, the sudden shifts in tone, the meetings that felt colder than usual. Each one was a quiet warning he failed to decode. As a single father, his focus was split between deadlines at work and survival at home. He believed that showing loyalty, working late hours, and keeping his head down would protect him. Instead, those unspoken signals became the countdown to a disaster he never saw coming. Day by day, the pressure tightened. His boss's smiles felt forced, praise came with sharp undertones, and silence replaced clear communication. He told himself it was stress, office politics, or maybe his own exhaustion. After all, he had bills to pay, a child depending on him, and no room to question authority. Ignoring the signs felt safer than confronting them, until safety disappeared entirely. When the truth finally surfaced, it came without mercy. One knock on the door shattered the illusion of stability he had been clinging to. In that moment, it wasn't just a job on the line. It was rent, food, dignity, and the future he was trying to protect for his child. The realization hit hard. In some workplaces, silence is not neutrality and kindness is not protection. By the time he understood the language of power and warning, his livelihood was already hanging by a thread, fraying under the weight of everything he had trusted too blindly. As a devoted single father, every decision he made revolved around survival. Not ambition, not office politics, just making it through another day with stability intact. His mornings began before sunrise, packing lunches, calming nightmares, and promising his child that everything would be okay. At work, he kept his head down, followed instructions, and ignored the confusing signals coming from his boss. The occasional warmth mixed with sharp criticism felt uncomfortable, but he convinced himself it was nothing personal. He couldn't afford to read between the lines when his focus was simply keeping food on the table. Those mixed signals slowly blurred the truth. Praise one day, cold silence the next. Friendly conversations followed by sudden distance. He told himself that loyalty and patience would protect him, that results mattered more than perception. What he didn't realize was that decisions were already being made behind closed doors, while he was still trying to prove his worth through sacrifice and endurance. The humiliation came without warning, not in a private office, not behind closed doors, but at his own doorstep, in front of neighbors and the life he was desperately trying to shield. The words were sharp, final, and unforgiving. In that moment, he wasn't just an employee being terminated. He was a father stripped of security, dignity, and trust. The shock wasn't just losing the job. It was realizing that survival alone is never enough when power, miscommunication, and silence collide. That explosive moment didn't just cost him his job. It shattered the illusions he had built to survive. The door closing behind his boss echoed louder than the words that ended his employment. In the silence that followed, reality rushed in all at once. He realized this wasn't simply about performance or effort, it was about power, perception, and rules that were never written down but strictly enforced. For years he believed hard work would speak for itself. He thought loyalty was protection and silence was professionalism. But that moment forced him to confront a harsh truth. Misunderstanding the language of authority can be as dangerous as open defiance. His boss's signals weren't confusion. They were tests, expectations, and boundaries he never knew he was crossing. By the time he understood, the outcome had already been decided. The awakening was painful because it stripped away innocence. He saw how quickly respect can turn into judgment, how easily narratives are shaped without your voice in the room. More than losing a paycheck, he lost his sense of fairness and trust in the system he depended on. Standing there, with uncertainty staring him down, he understood the brutal price of missing unspoken rules. Yet within that loss was a seed of change, a resolve to never again mistake silence for safety or power for patience.